say hi. Say your name.
Okay. I can try.
Hi, I'm Ann. Hi, I'm Kayla.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
I'm Kiyoshi.
It's Kiyoshi's in the house! I'm Marie, and we are coming to you live from Austin, Texas, because it's
Happy Woolly Wednesday!
Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. We are so honored to have Kiyoshi Mino here in the house with us and in the studio today, live with you. So we're going to have a chance to get to know him a little bit better and do some Q&A, and he brought some awesome show and tells. So we're going to have a great show. Thank you all so much for being here. The fairies have been working so hard. What have you guys been doing? Fluttering around, spreading magic?
Doing lots. Yeah.
Rolling MC1.
We're all set up for 3 days of amazing workshops with Kiyoshi here, and you're going to get to see more about that. So thanks for being here, you guys. We're going to get started. Hey everybody, thank you for being here. Happy Woolly Wednesday. I am Marie. We are Living Felt based in Austin, Texas. We're so excited that you're here with us today, and I'm going to just get us queued up and see a few people joining us. Do you have us there, Ann?
Not yet.
Okay, I have us here. We're live on, you might refresh your page. So I have us here. Oh, I see some folks here. There's Cherie Davidson. She's in Washington, of course. We have Devin in Idaho, Wendy in Wisconsin, Kate in Vermont, Judy Stadola's here, Deborah in North Carolina. I can't even catch all those names. Thank y'all for being here. You know, Kiyoshi traveled all the way from Illinois. He has been flying all over the globe teaching and will continue to. I'm so glad that he has made 2 stops this year for us. He's here this 3 days. We're going to do open-winged birds. We're going to do this amazing red deer in October, and he's brought that as a show and tell too. And if y'all can catch a local workshop with him, definitely do. And we're going to share some links in a little while, so that you can check him out, other places on the web, subscribe to his channel, and all that good stuff. So the first thing I want to do is a shout out to Michelle Houston of the Wild and Woolly in Canada. Today I'm wearing this little pin made by her. Should I take it off? Oh, I better hold it up. Look at this adorable little pin that she made. Michelle's business is called The Wild and Woolly. So I'm going to hold that up so that you can see it. And you can follow her on Facebook. It's The Wild and Woolly. Follow her on Instagram, The Wild and Woolly. And hey, you know what? I bought this pin. She posted in Living Felt Friends, our group, that she was getting ready for shows. And I saw her owl pins and I just had to have one. So I want to say, Michelle, thank you so much for felting with us all these years. It's honestly more years than I can count. I'm going to wear my owls around maybe for the rest of the season. So The Wild and Woolly, that's Michelle Houston. Thank you. I had something else I was going to say. Did I? I think what we're going to do, y'all, we have this great Q&A we're going to have with Kiyoshi. You're going to get to know him a little bit better. So I'm just going to show and tell one more thing with you. And then Anna's going to come up and walk us through the MC1 blues. We have been sharing the colors in our MC1 line over the last few weeks, doing one family a week. So you can check those out on past episodes. And hey, you know what? If you're here for the first time, thank you for joining us. If you are watching the replay on YouTube, you can leave your questions there. And this is an interactive hour, so ask questions, make a contribution, and for everyone who does, your name is going to go into a hat, and at the end, we'll draw names and give away presents, which is one of our favorite things to do. So we have a lot of people on here right now joining us. Thank you, everybody, for being here. There's Connie. Connie says she's in Illinois. Connie, are you in Moline? I think she's in Moline, Illinois. I want to check that. So I just wanted to do one quick show and tell for those of you who have been part of the Doll Felt Along. Yesterday we posted part 6 bonus section of the Felt Along, and that is for wet felting Grandma Santa's little bloomers and her house coat. And some of y'all have been doing the doll felt along with me, and I just want to say thank you so much. I am receiving your pictures. I'm receiving your comments. I will absolutely catch up to comments over the next couple of days. If you have any questions, just make sure to tag me in the group or in your post when you share your doll. And for those of you who haven't felted with us, we do have a doll kit, and then we decided today that we're going to do kits for off-season Santa and Granny Santa also. So watch for those over the next few weeks. Oh, she lost her slipper. And we'll get those on the website as well.
And Connie responded, yes, she is in Moline.
Yeah, Connie's in Moline, so that's not far from you, Kiyoshi. Yeah, that's nearby. Mm-hmm. Cool, so I just wanted to share them and say thank you, everyone. So now Anne is going to walk you through the Blues MC1 so we can get our housekeeping stuff done and get on to seeing Kiyoshi. Yay, Anne! I'm hearting everybody.
Thank you so much for being here today. We're going to show the MC1 Blues. I'm going to start at the top right here. This is Cobalt, Chicory, Dusty Blue, Majestic, Midnight, Egyptian Blue, Blue Azul, Robin's Egg, Winter Blue. Goodness. This one is Dusty Blue. Sorry about that. Caspian, Marina, Carnival. Oh, I mixed up those two. This one is Marina and this one is Carnival. And then this is Ocean Green.
Karen Cott says, lovely blues. And Angela Wolf says, they're great. And Sharon Bappel says, yay, Anne.
Oh, thank you.
That's awesome. All blues are my favorite, says Linda Reeder. That's cool. Thank you so much. Okay, so before I bring Kiyoshi up, Hannah is one of the many people who took advantage of the amazing free tutorial that Kiyoshi Mino did as a YouTube video for needle felting a sloth. Anne is going to link to it, and Hannah is going to come up and show and tell her sloth. Yay, Hannah!
Hey everybody, how are y'all doing? So this is my little sloth. He is honestly the first realistic sculpture I attempted. I watched the video online and it was great. It was a little bit of a challenge learning how to do the long fur, but the video really helps. And the little fingers. There's just so much to learn and so much to, bring on to the next project.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's really good.
Don't feel intimidated, y'all. Just do it. It's worth it. It's fun.
Are you gonna be a sloth for Halloween?
Oh gosh, I could try.
It is very difficult for a beginner video, I have to admit.
No.
It's not really beginner, it's more intermediate.
Everybody says, they're saying, so cute. Terry P just says, Kiyoshi is so talented. Why aren't there more dudes in our group? Marjolaine says, well done. Cherie says, nice sloth, Hannah. Everyone's a great
Thank
job.
y'all so much.
Yay,
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay, y'all, so I am so grateful that you're all here. I'm so grateful that you all get to meet Kiyoshi. So without further ado, let's just big BFF round of applause for Kiyoshi. Come on in, Kiyoshi. Get out of here. What? So, this is Kiyoshi Mino, came all the way from Illinois. Do you want to sit and visit for a second? Stand and visit.
Whatever you prefer.
It's cool. Y'all, so what I wanted to do is just give you the opportunity to get to know Kiyoshi a little bit better. He brought some amazing show and tells. We were chatting before the show just now. So Kiyoshi, tell us how you first discovered needle felting.
So, it's kind of a long story, but my wife and I, about, I guess 8 years ago now, decided to sort of just give up our careers and start an organic farm. And so there are a variety of reasons for that, but before we went out and just bought a farm, we thought it would probably be a good idea, since we didn't know anything about farming at that point, to like learn how to do it first. So we went to this training program called the Farm School.
Where is that, by the way?
In Massachusetts.
Okay.
And where you live for a year on a working farm, and you actually help run a vegetable CSA and a meat CSA, and so we learned how to grow crops and raise animals.
What CSA stand for people?
Community supported agriculture. It's basically, functionally, it's like getting a subscription to that farm, but you're paying that farmer basically for, it's like you're buying stock in their farm basically.
Gotcha.
You're sharing the risk for that year for what they can produce by paying them up front, and then depending on how the year goes, you get more or less.
Some yield.
Right.
Sure. Okay.
And you can do that with either meat or vegetables. So we, on the farm, we actually helped raise sheep, and so they taught us how to shear sheep and how to process wool in various ways, and including felting. So we learned how to wet felt and needle felt.
Yeah.
And so the needle felting class was just this like couple hours where this lady, this nice woman who was a sheep farmer herself, just did a little bit of needle felting, on the side for fun, and sold a few, simple pieces and stuff. And so she just basically taught us like what needle felting was.
Yeah.
And this was the first time I'd ever heard of it, and so she told us like, this is needle felting, here's a felting needle and a pad and a bunch of wool, and just make whatever you want. And so
come on, you have to show everybody what you made.
Yeah. So I like to show all my students this picture of the first thing I ever made, because it's not anything spectacular by any means. So, but just on my phone.
Yeah. We're going to show it on his phone, and we're also going to share links so that you can follow Kiyoshi on his social media. But he's going to show you a picture of the very first thing he felt, and this was just like without any instruction at all. It was basically like stab some wool, make a thing.
Right. This is what needle felting is. Just, try. Just try it and make whatever you want. And,
okay, we'll go. Hold it about here first, and then we'll guide you in. Yeah, okay, go ahead. Come into this camera first, yeah? Look at this chicken, y'all. It is so cute! Okay, for a second, come this way. Just this, come on this one, and come a little closer if you would. Okay. There we go.
Can you see it? Okay.
Yeah, we can totally see it. Wendy Alstead says, so inspiring. Terry wants to go to the farm. Cute. Yeah, everyone thinks the chicken is so cute. So after chicken, what happened?
But so I sort of like immediately fell in love with it, because as I was telling you, I'd never really done much like training in art. I never intended on being an artist.
Yeah, just tell everybody like what's your artistic background prior to chicken.
So as a kid, I loved to draw. I've just with my brother and I, like, often instead of playing like normal kids do, we would like take sketchbooks with us on trips and stuff with my family, and we'd just draw stuff, or we'd draw like little simple comic books together and things like that.
So cute.
So I've always loved drawing and art in that sense, and it does kind of run in my blood. But both of my parents are art historians. They're not artists, but but I grew up like going to art museums.
How interesting.
And for a while I hated art. I actually hated art museums because like everywhere we went on vacation, it was always like to go to an art museum. But so it is kind of like in my blood, I guess.
Yeah.
But I never, wanted to be an artist or go into art. But it was just this first experience with needle felting. It was kind of my first experience with sculpture in general. So it was kind of exciting for me to experience like making things in 3 dimensions instead of just 2 dimensions for the first time. And so I kind of immediately fell in love with it, and for the rest of this farmer training program, all my free time was spent needle felting, and I'd make a new animal every few days and put it in the common room and display it, and and I just kept challenging myself to do more and more challenging things, Well, the other thing I should say is I've always loved animals. So even when I drew, I used to draw birds and things like that. I used to really like drawing birds and animals. So I think it just was kind of a natural fit for me.
Yeah. So now, how long before you made that life-size chimp that we've all seen, that amazing speed video of you basically felting on the floor, this enormous chimp in a tiny space? How long, were you felting before you endeavored to do that life-size?
So that was about 3 years ago. So
about 5 years.
So like 4 years. Yeah,
okay.
I guess 4 years.
Okay. And how long did that chimp take you?
3 months.
Oh,
but I was really hurrying. I was really hurrying too because I was asked to do this by an artist who was curating an exhibit in New York City at this gallery called Chamber, and it was a really interesting exhibit where it was all sort of design objects that were had something to do with nature. And he asked me to make something, much more ambitious than I'd made before, like, larger animal, like life size. I was like, and we both kind of discussed it, and I think both of us liked the idea of trying a chimpanzee, and that's kind of how that came to happen.
Where does it live now?
It was sold. Unfortunately, I don't know who bought it. But like, it must have been someone who really valued their privacy. But all the gallery would tell me is that it went to somebody on the West Coast who has an important private art collection. So that was exciting. But then,
but you don't
but
know.
so now I want to know even more who it was. But
all the mystery and the intrigue maybe makes it so more rich.
But yeah, it took me 3 months, but I was still farming at the time, so I couldn't work on it full time.
Right.
But I was also kind of like hurrying to get it done in time for this exhibit.
That's exciting.
But,
our theme in our group this year is Explore, Expand, Stretch, and I think that's what you're kind of saying you did. You just allowed yourself to expand with that project and really challenge yourself.
Big step.
Yeah.
And I think I learned from that I really do like making larger pieces because you can get a lot more detail and make things more realistic.
Yeah. And
so
do you like the patience that it requires to for it to come? It takes longer.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like the part where you're just making the body bigger and bigger. That was a little tedious.
Yeah.
There's probably some easier way to do that. Like make the core. A large core for a large piece, but other than that, I really did enjoy doing like the face and the fur and the musculature.
So what's your next big piece?
So I'm actually working on a big piece right now. I was asked while I was in Chile. I gave a little talk with a few scientists who, since I was making native species that are native to Chile. And teaching like those for my workshops there were a couple scientists who were specialized in those particular animals, like the Darwin frog and the puma. And so one of these guys was a specialist in cats, and he knows a lot about pumas, but he specializes in this cat called the Andean mountain cat, and it's the second most endangered cat in the world, and the most endangered cat species in the Western Hemisphere.
Wow.
And they only live in northern Chile and southern Peru, and there's only 1,000 of them left.
Wow.
And so he studies these, and he's a member of this organization that's trying to bring them back and conserve them. And he asked me if I'd be interested in somehow making a mascot for them, that they can take around to conferences and sort of get attention to their cause. And so basically it's a life-size Indian mountain cat.
Wow. So give us help us understand how, because a tiger can be 9 feet long.
Right. It's not. They're actually very small for a wild cat. Okay. They're bigger than a house cat, but not by much.
Okay.
Maybe the piece is going to be maybe 3 feet long, including the tail.
Okay, including the tail.
But that's still pretty big.
It is big, yeah.
It's probably the second biggest.
I was just getting scared thinking about.
Yeah, it's about 3 feet long, but Yeah, it's really cute actually. It looks like a big house cat.
What's happening over there, Anne?
Oh, a lot of people were posting about wanting to see the chimp. I think a lot of people haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Did you link to his YouTube?
Yes.
Okay, so
Okay.
Anne linked to his YouTube, his YouTube channel. Somebody else linked to his website. That's perfect. You can also find him on Instagram as Kiyoshi Mino Felt, right?
Mhm.
So follow him on Instagram, follow him on YouTube. He did a great video for us. We love the sloth video. So
Oh,
you
thank
brought your sloth. Why don't we do a little
Oh
show
yeah,
and
this is
tell?
a
Yeah.
sloth that.
I'll let you just just talk them through that. Your little sloth sculpture.
So this is the sloth that, well, not the particular one that I made for the video, but pretty much exactly the same as that one.
Mhm.
And it's a simple piece that I made that intermediate to beginner level felters can make, but it also incorporates a lot of more advanced techniques. So I thought it'd be a good one to start with, because you can see it has long flowing fur and a pretty detailed face, and
So adorable.
and of course it incorporates a wire armature, so you learn all the basic things that you need to make more complicated sculptures.
Right, now someone asked, do your pieces have metal or wire structure? So your larger pieces
Yeah, they
have
all
metal.
do. They all do.
Mhm,
Yeah, and it's just a simple armature, like one wire for each limb, and a spine.
Mhm.
And for the larger pieces, maybe it'll be wire for each toe or finger. But
Judy Stodola says, amazing work. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Tina says, love the sloth. Karen, love the sloth. Adorable little face. That's awesome. So tell us now, you brought some other show and tells. So we'll just let you drive. Maybe you tell us what do you want to show, or
okay.
what you want to.
So this is a piece I made.
We just talk in your face.
Oh yeah. So this is a piece I made for a class I just taught in the Netherlands. I just got back from a trip to Europe there, and I made this because it's a species native to Europe, and it's just a bird that's very popular and well liked amongst the Dutch, and so.
Now your needle felting, you have an armature in there, and you're needle felting with merino top.
Yeah, so I use a coarser core wool for sculpting, because you can sculpt it more firmly, and then this actually, the beak is the MC1.
Okay.
I actually like that for more sort of fine detail sort of sculpting, like for a face and things. It's actually really nice because it's not as coarse as like the core wool,
Right.
and so you can make it a little more smooth, I guess. And then everything else on the outside is merino top. Yeah. And yeah, so this was for a class on how to make birds with the folded wings.
Yes, closed wings.
Right.
Karen Cott says, do you use pictures for inspiration or the live animal?
I wish I could use live animals, but it is just not practical. I have no access to the live models. If I did, I would love that, but I have to just use Google Image and get as many photographs as I can.
So Kate,
of any particular species.
Kate Latz asked, what's the beak made of? And Kate, that's our MC1 batting. And would you post a link to MC1 batting? And Devin McCarroll says, any advice on shaping the beaks? I have trouble with those.
Yeah, beaks are hard. Any kind of small, sort of small things that you have to sculpt precisely. Yeah, first it's very difficult. it's it's difficult for me too. It just takes a lot of time. You have to make sure that it's firm, but then you also have to be careful not to add too much wool because then it gets too big.
Yeah.
So just add a little bit at a time. I would say that's one thing.
Is there wire in the beak?
Very small amounts at a time you add, so it doesn't get too big. There is wire in the beak. Yeah.
Okay.
Use wire definitely, so that ideally if you you use wire out to the tip of the beak, then you can make it sort of sharper at the tip than if you didn't have any wire at all.
Right.
Like on this guy. But yeah, so use wire. Only
I don't understand.
add little bits of wool at a time so that and felt it firmly as you go, like before you add more. That's another thing.
So they're asking, does the beak have stiffener in it? And someone else asked a question, I think it probably pertains to the same. So they're wanting to know, are you using any other products on the feet or the beaks? And maybe we can show one of those like up close.
It's all just, so all I use is on the, here?
This one. Come
This
up
one?
this one a little bit. Perfect. That's good.
So yeah, I don't use anything on the outside. It's just wool. But like when I'm making the armature and the initial layer around the armature, I'll put a little bit of like craft glue, just so that, because when you're wrapping a wire around an armature, it'll just slip off if you don't have something there to attach it. So I just use like non-toxic like craft glue. And so that's how you can make sort of very skinny little toes and claws. It's just a little bit of wool wrapped around wire with glue to hold it on.
Pamela Miller says, those are incredible bird feet.
Thank you.
And Elsa asked, did you use powder, Paul? No, he doesn't use any stiffener or hardener. He's just using fiber.
So yeah, I'm kind of a purist, I guess. Like, I like the idea of, I'm a wool sculptor, so I want to, see what I can do just with wool, basically. So like a lot of people use like glass eyes or things like that, but it's difficult and it is definitely hard to make eyes that look kind of realistic with just wool, but. Like I said, I like the challenge of just sticking to the one material and just keeping it simple, I guess.
Yeah. So everyone who's asking those questions, yes, his beak is wool. He's using wool. And he's not wet felting. You're just needle felting it all.
Yeah, it's just needle felting.
He's just needle felting it all. So now they want to know, what are your needles that you're using?
So I don't even know. I have started. Marie sent me a bunch of her needles that I liked, but it really, I think it's not that important like what needles you use, as long as you're it feels like you're the particular wool that you're using, it feels like the needle is catching and working efficiently. It's just sort of trial and error, but I do like those, what was it, the 40 spiral needles that you sent me. Those are really good, just like all-purpose. I found and those seem to be able to do everything.
And especially since you're working with a lot of merino top, which is a fine fiber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like it's good for that. But for like a coarser wool, like if you're just sculpting the body, like for this life-size cat I'm making, there you kind of want to have like a I don't know a coarser needle, like instead of sort of thicker needle, and maybe multiple ones if you have like a holder that can hold 3 or more.
Multi-needle tool.
Yeah.
Now, Kiyoshi, some people were asking about your bird feathers and whether there was any tips. Someone said that it was kind of fast on the video. So
Yeah, it's very
we won't
fast.
have we won't have time for a demonstration. But I wonder if you can show yours, and then I can bring in maybe just one little piece of the wing that I'm working on too. I don't think yours
Like
is.
a feather.
Mine is closed.
Well, here you can see
Where
the
yours is-
individual feathers.
Yeah, maybe you show us that and just give some hot tips. And this
This is-
beautiful bird, which you're going to be teaching over the next 3 days.
Yeah, so this is going to be one of the models for my open wing bird class that I'm teaching starting tomorrow. It's a Eurasian tree sparrow, and it's got kind of a story behind it because I made it for I actually had to steal this from my grandmother for this week, which I've done a couple times for an exhibit in Shanghai. I had to borrow it from her, and then again today. But she's another maybe source of maybe my artistic interest in art and ability, because she is a really talented like traditional Chinese painter.
Mm-hmm.
She's done that for many years, and she doesn't do it too much anymore, but like I have a couple of her paintings in my house, and she studied in Taiwan, I think is where she learned, and her instructor, whenever she made a painting that he liked, he would well, particularly like bamboo or bamboo groves, he would paint little tree sparrows in her painting.
Oh.
And since he was actually a pretty famous painter, and so this is like a big really nice thing. And so she has a couple of paintings that have these Eurasian tree sparrows that her teacher had painted on it for her.
How
To show
cool.
that he really liked and approved of her of that particular painting. So that's why I chose, when I was like, oh, I want to make something for her birthday, and that's why I chose this particular bird.
It's so beautiful. And Kim Zapp says he looks like he's ready to take off. And everyone is, of
Oh,
course,
thank you.
just in awe of it and the detail and the feathers. And everyone is just so inspired. They also love the story about your grandma. And there's
Oh,
just
thank you.
there's not enough like praise coming across the screen right now for your bird. And you know what, Ann? So Kiyoshi has a video for making that sparrow on his YouTube channel, and y'all, Ann's gonna link to that. It is fast, but he shows you pretty much everything, even though it's fast.
Right,
It's
it's hard to see, I know, but it was like a month of work collapsed into like 15 minutes. So
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to see too much, but you can at least see what I'm doing, and you can see that I do for this piece. I think this is the first time I tried doing a bird where I made every single feather, well, almost every feather, at least on the wings. So yeah, I made each feather individually. Including these small ones here, and attach them later. But yeah, so this is what I'm going to be teaching in this class. Is you have a simple armature for the wing, just one wire, and then I thought that if I did a wire for each feather, that this base wire here would get too thick, so I just did like maybe 3 or 4 feathers of these main pin feathers. 3 or 4 of them have wires inside, the rest don't, and that was enough to make the wing stable and not floppy. But yeah, and then the same thing for the tail. It's just a couple of them have wires inside.
And what gauge wire is that you're working with? 24?
Yes.
Maybe it's about 24 gauge wire.
Yeah, you want a fine wire because you don't want things to get too thick, like the toes, and it doesn't need to be very strong because it's very lightweight because it's so small. So yeah, I would go with 24 gauge.
Devin McCarroll says, I want to be him when I grow up. Wendy says, me too. Someone says that a lot of dedication, a lot of patience. Maria Svensson in Sweden says, a very common bird in Sweden. Yeah. Okay,
nice.
so check out this one too, y'all.
So
Here's
this
one.
is another one of the models. So this is the first time we're trying kind of a new thing this workshop because we're giving people an option to do 3 different birds. Don't know how that's going to work out, but I'll try because the technique is all the same, but they all have slightly different measurements and different colors that they're going to be using and stuff. But this is another one of the birds that we give people an option of doing. It's the Indigo Bunting, another popular one with bird watchers, and also a native species to this area. And so you can see it's all the same technique. I use just different feather pattern and colors. But and here you can see like the skeleton of the wing. The armature here. So I for my classes, I like to have sort of pieces in different stages of completion, so that students can see what how the process works, and also I like to work along with the students somewhat, so I can sort of join them at the different stages, and not have to like work super fast and gets really stressed out trying to keep up with them and instructing. So, yeah.
And so for these birds, we're going to be using our core wool, merino top, and MC1 batting, right? All of those.
This is the core wool here actually, and then here this is the MC1. Yeah, the feathers. On this bird, I actually used MC1 to make the individual feathers, and then I colored them with the like the other colors here. I used just the merino top. But the base of the feathers is the MC1. And then the other species. This is the other option that we gave people to make is the Vermillion Flycatcher. This is another species that's native to this area. And here you can see this one's also just half done. And here you can see this, the wires.
They're really liking seeing that you're.
And you don't have to use this many
process.
wires. Oh, like that?
They're saying, that seems like so helpful to see it like simultaneously, on either side.
Oh, yeah, I hope so.
Jamlin says, you sound like you're a fantastic teacher. I hope to get to take a class with you someday.
Oh, thank you.
These are beautiful. Now, are these life-size, Kiyoshi?
Yes, hopefully. I think the sparrow...
They're close, right?
Yeah. I think these are pretty close to life size. These two. I think the sparrow. I made the sparrow a while back, so I think he's a little too big, but not by much. I was trying to make it life size, but at least up until recently, when I try to make life size things, they always somehow get it.
They grow.
They kind of grow. Yeah. So it's a challenge, but.
And let's see, I know I was going to ask you a question. So Sharon asked, do you normally work on both wings at the same time? Like if you're making a bird for yourself, do you do both wings simultaneously?
So what I would do is, make like all of the pin feathers or whatever for both wings, and then attach them, and then make all of the little feathers and then attach them. So I don't just do one wing at a time, I guess.
Those are amazing, Kiyoshi. Well, I know that, everyone
Thank you.
is going to have so much fun over the next 3 days. So how about you're coming back in October. Do you want to show us your red deer?
So my next class here will be middle of October. And that's going to be this guy. Actually, just I made this for my class in the Netherlands as well, because this is actually a native species native to Europe, also not here, but.
You have to hold it up close, Kiyoshi. Everyone's just gonna flip when they see this.
So this is a red deer. The deer that we have here, you know, usually mostly like white-tailed deer is what you see. Their antlers are actually a lot different. They like come forward instead of going back.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, instead of like this main part coming here, it actually goes forward. So the antlers are quite different, but yeah. So this is a red deer native to, you know, Eurasia.
Just for fun, let's bring him like right up to the camera so people can see his fur. Just go ahead and bring him. Oh, that's beautiful. And just pause. And then we'll go to this one over here. This way. Just want everyone to get a chance to see how gorgeous that fur is. And now the fur is merino top also.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone wants to know, of course, do the antlers have wire?
Yep, and you need wire for the antlers.
Mm-hmm.
And the legs, since they're so skinny.
And they want to know, is the deer firm or soft?
It's pretty firm. Like, yeah, you always want to sculpt things firm, especially if you're going to add a layer of fur or feathers afterwards, because otherwise, you know, when you start, you know, poking in the fur, you deform. Yeah, you deform what you already sculpted.
Exactly.
So you want the sculpture underneath to be quite firm.
Yes.
Especially like in this case, you know, the fur is fairly short on these animals, so you can kind of see the musculature a little bit. So you don't want that to, you know, you want to sculpt, you know, some of the basic musculature underneath, and you don't want that to get, you know, messed up when you add the fur.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's absolutely stunning, Kiyoshi. And so, like, how long does that sculpture take you to make? If you're just sitting down.
This guy probably took me 2 weeks, maybe a little more than 2 weeks.
You pick it up and put it down. Pick it up and put it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to work you know, pretty much full time now when I'm not, you know, teaching.
Mm-hmm. So someone asked, can they see the tail? Can we see the
tail?
Uh-huh.
It's kind of, you know, down, but yeah.
Yeah.
And he's also anatomically correct because he is a stag.
Very nice.
So you might be able to see that too.
So people want to know about how they achieve that length of fur. Are you cutting the fiber as you place it, after you place it? What's your method?
Well, so it depends. Like on most of the body, you can't just like. Okay, so for most of the body, I'll take someone and cut it to maybe, you know, half an inch or something.
Mm-hmm.
And lay that down, and I'm always laying it in the same direction, because, you know, if you look at animals, their fur always sort of goes in a particular direction. It's not just like crazy, you know, all over the place. You know, so in this case, you know, it's kind of runs this way,
Mm-hmm.
and so I lay each clump of fur that I make about, you know, half inch or so down, and then felt that in. Then the next one felt that in. You don't want to just like take a clump and crumple it up and just lay it on there if you want to make it look like real fur.
Mm-hmm.
But then for the parts like his neck where the fur is pretty long, you want to actually have it stick out. So in that case, then you actually take each clump of fur, maybe a little longer, about twice the length of what you want it to actually want it to be, you know, how far you want it sticking out. And I'll just, you know, lay it on there, and then just attach it, a line, in the center, and then it folds out, and then it sticks out, and then just keep adding it, maybe behind the last one that you did.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yep. So people are asking some of the same questions. Yes, he uses a wire armature. Yes, he's using a lot of merino top for the surface, for the fur and the feathers. He uses some MC1 on portions of the sculpture, but the fur and the feathers are a lot of merino top. Maria says, "It is amazing your attention to detail." So what tips do you have, Kiyoshi? You've shown us like your first basic, simple sculpture. You know, you didn't have artistic training prior to this. Your sculptures are lifelike, vibrant, realistic. Now, we all know that not all of us have the patience to study the animal, you know, in the first place.
Yeah,
so
it takes a long time.
That's part of it, right? I mean, if people want to achieve something realistic, like one of these, like if you were to give 3 to 5 bullet points of what does it take to get there, what would you say?
Well, first of all, you have to, make sure that you find reference photos. Ideally, you have something three-dimensional to look at. But since that's hard,
Yes.
Oftentimes you won't.
Right.
The next best thing is to, just find as many photos as you can of whatever animal that you're trying to make. Hopefully, in like a pose or near to the pose that you want it to be in.
Right.
And from every angle, you have to be able to see what the animal looks like, looking down at his face,
Right.
from above, from each side.
That's a great point.
Yeah, so that's difficult. Just Google image and just kind of hope that those photos exist.
Right.
But yeah, making sure that you are always you're paying attention to each angle as you work, not just one.
Right.
If you're just working based off of a profile picture, then when you like turn it around,
Yeah.
look at it from the front, like, oh, what the?
Right.
You always have to be like, as you're working.
Yeah, you have to turn it
keep,
all. Yes.
like, turning
Yes.
it around.
Mhm,
Yeah. So that's one thing. For like animals where like this deer, or for a lot of the wild cats, where their musculature is actually very defined and visible. One thing, like for this cat that I'm making, he has actually pretty long fur, or these cats have pretty long fur, but you still need to know what it looks like underneath
Right.
the fur, so that
Right.
the proportions are right, and the basic shape.
So some
is what you
skeletal
want.
drawings
So-
as well, and muscular drawings
so
as
look
well.
at look
Okay.
for look for photos of skeletons of the animal that you're making. For the cat, one thing you can do, I looked up photos of like hairless cats.
Oh,
so
right.
To see what they look
Just
like
the
without the
idea of
fur.
a cat muscle.
Yeah,
Okay.
because their
Okay.
faces actually, you can't tell what their face looks like at all, like under the fur by looking at them.
Right.
They look
That's a
very
good point.
They look very different without the fur.
Right.
So, because like all that, the fur out here is, that's just hair. Like,
Fluff.
yeah. Actually, inside they're quite skinny. Like,
Yeah.
Their faces. So look, see if you can find hairless versions of animals. Like for my the chimpanzee, I got a lot of I looked up lots of photos of like hairless chimps.
How interesting.
That helped a lot.
Huh. I wouldn't have thunk about a hairless chimp.
Yeah,
I looked for musculature, but I wouldn't have looked for. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So find reference photos, find skeletal photos, find muscular photos or hairless photos
hairless
if you can.
photos.
When you felt in all directions. What about going from scale? Like people, if they find out that this animal, like how big is this animal in real life? Approximately,
Yeah,
is
a
it
lot
like
bigger than that.
10
So-
hands high, or I don't know how they.
Yeah, well, yeah, red deer, I think they're pretty large.
How do you go from
So-
picture to smaller version and
Yeah, so
feel
the
like
proportions,
you
you have to be very careful with the proportions. It's very important. So there's a few tricks that I use if possible. Like the life-size ones, all you have to do is look up like, the actual size. So that's pretty easy. You look up data on wingspan and length and things for birds. But for like a large animal that you're making a small version of, like for this guy, all I did was I found a picture that I liked, like sort of in the pose that I wanted, and I took my armature. I made an armature first, a basic armature.
Yeah.
And then I sort of like held it up to the photo, like on my computer screen.
Yes.
I made the photo like the size that I wanted.
Match the
piece
skeleton.
to be. Yeah, and then I held up the
Gotcha.
armature and just sort of cut it, shaped it, based on.
That's what we did.
Like one,
that's what we did in
cheap
Megan
trick
Ned's
that you
class.
use.
Yeah, Megan Ned, she printed us like
Okay.
an outline of a kind of a big cat,
Yeah, there you go.
and it had the skeleton inside, and that's how big we made our armatures. Our armatures basically were bent around
Oh,
the
yeah,
image.
yeah.
So that's a tip, y'all, from somebody who really knows, and Megan had the same tip. If you're trying to scale down, don't worry about the math as much, but take that actual image or actual skeleton drawing and size your armature based on the skeleton. And even the bulk of the body would be around the outside. That's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
firm,
one
that was the
shortcut.
other thing you said. Make it firm so it holds all the application that you put to it.
Mhm.
Blending colors to make your fiber.
Yeah.
Be willing to blend, I think. Be willing to
definitely
blend fibers.
For mammals, most mammals, it's not just like a solid color.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different colors
Yeah.
if you look closely at their fur.
Mhm.
So yeah, you just have to experiment, like blending, adding a little bit more, of one color, adding a little bit more, until it looks right. But yeah, I'll just take a couple clumps of the merino top and lay them on top of each other and pull them.
Finger blend, just like we've done. That's awesome. Are there any final questions for Kiyoshi Ann?
Yeah. Can we see one of the bird's eyes up close?
The bird's eyes. Yeah. So, well, here, this one has a little more detail, but you can see that this one has a pupil and an iris.
Yeah, we'll have you just come right on up to this camera, and then we'll go up to the other camera. Come down a little bit and come right on in with it a little bit more. There, that's actually really clear on this side, and
Okay.
we're going to bring it over to this camera. So if it's, I know that Facebook, Kiyoshi, let's put your finger. The camera doesn't want to focus on it.
A little
Come on in.
further?
No, it's just focusing on your face.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, bring it in, and we just get a finger in there. So we're trying to get, come on camera. It doesn't want to focus for us. Well, that's okay. At least
Yeah,
the
it's a little
live
too
people get
close.
to see it.
Yeah.
This camera can focus.
That
it's
one
just,
did. Okay.
Mhm.
And then Deborah asks, is there something that you really, really want to felt as a future goal?
Like just to try.
Yeah, or just.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of things that I want to try. Yeah, it takes so much time to make a piece that there's like a million different things that I would like to make, but just getting through the catalog of things. But
Do you have another
yeah,
tutorial coming up?
hopefully, yes. I don't know when. Once I get done with, I'm teaching a bunch of classes this year up until the fall. So hopefully after that, I'll have time to work on an actual another video. But
Yeah, we'll have to
hopefully
see.
something more advanced.
Your schedule's kind of filled up.
Well, just for these next few months. But,
Yeah. Cool. Well, Kiyoshi, thank you so much for all your show and tells today and
Oh, you're
talking us through everything. We're going to have 3 days with Kiyoshi. I'll come back and do a little bit of maybe live video, or at least record some video. Y'all are going to get to meet a lot of your peeps that are normally in our group. We have just a fun group of people who are going to be here for the next 3 days, so we're super excited. And then you're going to see lots more amazing, at least half birds, right? will get made. So Kiyoshi,
Yes.
thank you so much for being our guest today. So
Well,
nice
thank
to
you.
have you.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. Yo, we're going to give away some prizes. And Kiyoshi, do you want to draw prizes with us?
Oh, sure.
Okay, we'll let Kiyoshi draw prizes. We have a felt-along coming up. I just want to do one quick poll while the fairies come in and ask you all Is it just all of us?
It's just us.
Okay, so what I want to ask you all is we're going to be doing a felt along for a cobweb scarf, and we want to find out, we're going to do it either the Friday or the Saturday after the upcoming holiday. So what we want to do is see which works better for you. Is that September 7th and 8th? I think it's September 7th and 8th. So it's going to be the first Friday and Saturday of September. We just want you to put hashtag Friday or hashtag Saturday for which works better for you, and that's probably what we'll do, because that's going to be a couple-hour live felt along for making a cobweb scarf. So I'm going to heart everybody for your questions today for Kiyoshi. We're going to give away prizes, so shake it up, Kayla, so he can draw. All right. Read the name loud and clear.
Debbie Reed.
Debbie Reed, yay! Debbie, and the first prize is, and I know what it is.
It's the Needle Felting of the Sloth supply pack.
Yay! So that's the supply kit for Kiyoshi's free video, which is on YouTube. You can see it on his channel or our channel. Heck, watch it on both. Why not? And leave him a comment, because it's an awesome free tutorial he did for everybody. Okay, cool. Next one.
You want to draw?
Oh, sure.
Draw it up,
Can
come
I
on.
just draw it right up?
Yeah.
Just
Go for
shout it out when you're ready.
Okay, Kathy Falls.
Yay, Kathy! What's she win, Ann?
Kathy, you won your choice of 2 colors of our MC1 batting.
So cool. So what are those? Winter blue
The winter
and blue azul.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, Kathy, congratulations. One more prize. And you draw.
I draw. Okay. Iva Dean Anderson.
Yay, Iva! Congratulations. What's she win, Ann?
She won a cobweb scarf kit.
So that would be for our upcoming Felt Along, which is about 3 weeks away, a little more than 3 weeks. Iva, we have tons of colors you can choose from, and if that prize doesn't suit you, well, you can pick one of the others. That would be just good. So everyone, thank you so much for being here. Say bye to Kiyoshi for now. We'll do a little video during the classes later, and just thank you all for being here so much. We appreciate you.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Bye. Be extra good to yourself today, y'all. You deserve it. Thank you.